Barber College Success with your boy Jay Baba in the building by himself today. Emma and Craig, they're both out. I think Craig's, I don't know where Craig is, but Emma is in Alabama on a trip. Hope he's enjoying himself. Same with Craig. Today, I guess I'm going to be talking about my own little struggles with doing my taxes and trying to figure out how to find a CPA. I got me and my boy Mitch in the back. He's gonna be kind of coming in and out, and asking me some questions, giving me some advice. Introduce yourself, Mitch. The boy behind the camera, the man behind the camera, or
Yeah.
the computer.
Yeah, I'm Mitch. I produce the show, usually hidden somewhere in the background, and press all the buttons, make sure things sound and look good. So,
Yep, Mitch always be making it happen, man. But I know there's a lot of people out there that's probably that barbers that are coming out your first doing your first year. You're probably thinking you're not really thinking about doing your taxes, and because I know that first year I was really zoned in on trying to just get my clientele up and building my clientele, getting my haircuts good, getting as good as I can at my craft before I even really try to take on anything else. But taxes is very important. I mean, I want to be able to own my own shop one day and get a car, like a new car, because I'm about to pay my car off. But you ain't gonna be able to take out loans and stuff like that if you don't have like if you don't show that you're making a good amount of money on anything. Like you can't take out business loans or loans or I don't know, like as far as you, Mitch, like is that like is there anything that won't let you do if you don't have a certain
that's a really good question. I don't think I don't think there's really anything they won't let you do. It's mostly you just have to have the history of employment to be able to qualify for loans and things like that. We just bought our first house last year, and so we went through that whole process because both myself and my wife run Maypop Media, and so we had to go through that whole thing.
So is that like the price of the house? Like say if the price of the house is like 100,000, and so do you have to meet a certain requirement on what you make every year to be able to get like a loan for that house at such a high price?
Yeah, I think they look at a couple of different things. They look at your credit, that type of stuff. So they look at your debt to income ratio, but then they mostly want to see consistent income. So they want to see, that's why it's easier when you have a 9 to 5 type of job and you have a salary that's the same every single month. The bank is going to be, unless you have awful credit, they're going to be like, yeah, you're fine. We know if you make, $3,000 a month consistently on salary, they can look at that and
at least they know that you're probably gonna be able to make that payment or
yes,
whatever.
yeah.
Okay. So the thing I never understood is that if you have a line of credit and you're about to pay it off, it makes your credit score go down.
Yeah.
I don't. How does that make sense? I never understood that. That's just me because I'm like, if I was a bank and I was like, this dude had a $20,000 like loan that he took out and he's about to pay it off, I would and he pays it off. I would give him a boost on his credit. And they're like, yeah, like this man is able to be able to pay that payment and I consistently. He never was late on any bill payments. Like I don't understand why it takes it down. Got me trying, which I mean, that said that it's a line of credit being closed, but still.
From what I've heard, I'm no expert on this at all, but the more accounts you have open for credit, the better, because that's showing again, I'm no expert, so this might all just be
No, that's
this
all
might
right.
all
At
just
least you
be.
got, at least you experienced that, or something, kind of experience that. Because coming from me, I don't know anything about it at all. So
And I mean, I don't think I know anything about it either. But the so let's say you have a $5,000 limit credit card, and you have it maxed out. That's a red flag for credit card for your credit.
yeah,
That's for bankers and that. So if they see that you have a credit card, $5,000 limit, you've maxed it out, and you're just making the minimum payment, that's them. They're saying, oh, that's not a good sign. And
yeah.
then, but if you have 15 credit accounts open, most of them are at zero balance. Some of them are towards the middle and the lower side of the balance. So if you had that $5,000 credit card limit and you had $1,000 on that card, that's a better sign. That's a healthier sign of credit, from my understanding.
So would you say it's bad to have a credit card? Because a lot of people say don't get credit cards. Because I had one and I like to spend money, so I maxed it out almost every freaking month. So I had to pay it off. But I mean, I
Yeah,
was paying it off, but I didn't like having the fact that I had to owe money. Like, because
right.
I think it was either was it 1,000 or 500? I think it was $1,000 limit on the credit card.
Hmm.
And they say my dad always told me, he was like, don't ever go above 1,000 on a credit card. So
Hmm.
you don't,
That's smart. Yeah.
yeah, so that way you can at least, I mean, that's a decent, if you're in debt and you owe money on the credit card, you can at least kind of come close to paying it off or pay it off pretty quick.
Right. Yeah. That I don't think it's bad to have a credit card. I do think it's bad to have a credit card if you're not educated on how credit cards work, and
Mm.
that's coming from my own experience. I had you know thousands of dollars of credit card debt at one point, and it was crippling.
Yeah.
Um, but and I had my dad and my mom say usually just like general things. Don't get a credit card till you're ready, or don't, I don't know. I can't think of anything word for word that they said to me, but it was, but I was not, and to my own fault, I wasn't
Let me cheer
quite
enough.
educated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let me cheer enough
yeah,
because I knew for a fact that as soon as I got a credit card, I was like, I'm gonna spend
hmm
so much money on this because you don't think about it because you're just like, I got money on here, I don't have to worry about it. Like, just,
and you make big purchases too. So you
yeah,
see like a $300 something, and you're like, oh, I want that, and then you
yeah.
buy it, and then you end up paying it off. The hardest thing about credit cards, or the most difficult thing about them, is the interest rates, because the interest rates are usually in the high 20s, 28%, and that's a big chunk of money.
So is that the interest rate is how much extra you have to pay if you don't pay like the
The
pay it off in a certain amount of time, like to
Yes,
add money
so
to
the
it?
interest rate, theoretically, it's just if you have a $1,000 credit limit. I don't want to do all the numbers
Hmm.
necessarily, but I guess if you have a $100 minimum payment every month, that's your minimum payment that it says on the bank statement.
Yeah.
If it's at 28% interest, only $72 of that $100 that you pay every month is going towards your balance and cutting it down.
And the other half is going towards the interest.
The other, that $28 is going to the bank that gave you the loan. So they're making $28 a month off of your credit card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I used $100 because it's easy to divide that with percentages and all that. But
Okay, so do you have do you have a business credit card? Since
um,
I don't know if you registered as a
we have an
LLC
LLC.
or
Yeah.
okay,
We
that's what I
we
thought.
just barely registered as an LLC in the beginning of this year.
Okay.
We were a sole proprietorship before then. Um, and that's something we can get into as well. We hired a CPA that helped us kind of transition over and organize our finances with our business, and then we're finding a lot of things with that to help us organize our finances personally as well. But we don't have a business credit card. We have like a Best Buy credit card for our business.
Mm-hmm. So you can buy like your equipment.
Yeah, and that's just because we have so much tech stuff.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but then we pay that off with we have money that goes into an account, in our business account, and then we have that money pay off those credit cards. So it's not coming out of our personal.
Okay, so you have a regular account and you have a business account.
Yep.
So does all your money go straight to your business account and you take it out every 2 weeks or a week, like you pay yourself, or is that what you do?
Yeah. So I'll shout out Thomas DeHart real quick. He's our CPA.
Thomas DeHart.
He's really cool. He introduced us to what's called the Profit First program, and I've been hearing a lot of people talk about it recently, so it's kind of cool. But it's kind of like, you've probably heard of Dave Ramsey.
Yeah,
it's kind of a similar. It's a philosophy based. I don't know if it's philosophy based. It's a way to manage your finances in a organized way. And so he's written a book, and there's people that kind of practice it. But it basically just it divides your accounts for the purpose that they need to be. So how we have it set up right now, we have all the money that we make with our business go into a business income checking account.
Okay.
And then twice a month, we take different percentages of whatever we bring in. So, say a 2-week period, we bring in $5,000. 10%, or let's see, 5% goes to profit. 15% goes to our tax account. 50% goes to owner compensation, which is basically paying myself and my wife.
Okay.
And then the rest goes to operating expenses, which I think is 25%, if my math is correct.
So do they do that? Do they take that out for you? You don't have to worry about it? Or do you have to go through
Thomas does that for us, but and it just kind of depends on how you want to handle it, but he has access to our accounts, so he just moves the money it's on the 10th and the 25th, so he just kind of moves it to the place it needs to be. Yeah, so if it was $5,000, he'd put $2,500 in owner compensation, and then he actually pays us through a payroll system from owner's compensation. So we get like a payroll, it takes out our payroll taxes, so we don't have to worry about that stuff at the end of the year.
So how much do you pay him to do that?
He takes, as of right now, it's like 1% of our income. So if it was $5,000, we would pay him $50 for that 2-week period. So if we did that, if we consistently did $5,000 every 2 weeks,
so he'd make $50.
He'd be making $100 a month, roughly.
Okay, that's actually not bad.
Yeah,
at all. Because I have a lot of people that say they pay. I don't know if there's like a CPA or a person that does their taxes, and they'll pay them like it says based off how much you make.
Mm-hmm.
So if you make like a lot of money, then you pay them. I mean, a pretty good amount.
Yeah, and that's how this is based. So the more money you make, the more money he would be making. So it's an investment for him, and an investment for you too, because you
don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, you're paying someone to save you a lot of time and headache and stress, because I tried to do my taxes. You
have to write down all the receipts.
Yeah.
Take the receipts. You have to write down how much you make. Like you have to keep up with how much you make. That's just, I don't want to. I'm a procrastinator, and I think the deadline's actually almost coming up for taxes.
Yeah, so April 15th is usually the day.
April 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I need to. January, March, April. Okay. Yeah, I got another month and a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to go ahead and try to get it done.
Right.
But this is my first year, so I'm trying to figure out who to go to for the CPA, like in Bristol, because obviously CPAs, they're dealing with your money, and you don't want somebody that you can trust. Because I've heard there's people that have CPAs and they take their money.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't want to. I don't want to deal with that. I'd be mad as heck, man.
There are some. Yeah, shady in every industry.
Yeah, some crooked.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. But yeah, you can usually find. So after the show, I can give you Thomas's info too if you want.
Is he in Johnson City?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he can. I mean, he can do
from over the phone or whatever.
Yeah, over the phone, email, whatever. So.
Okay, so
you could meet with him somewhere around here and then kind of get everything squared up and then figure it out as you go. Now's the hard time to find a CPA because it is tax season, so they're all busy with taxes.
Yeah, people's taxes. Okay. I'm just see, this is the only I wouldn't say this is the only because there's a lot. This is where a lot of people get caught up, I'm sure, in the barber industry. Like because I mean, because a lot of people probably procrastinate and they don't do their taxes. Like they just don't do them, and then you get caught by the IRS and you have to pay like freaking $40,000-$50,000 or some crazy crap.
Yeah,
and then everybody's like, man, he said this thing. I had a client that was from what was the city from? I think he said he was from probably up near where Craig used to live. I think he's like Boston or something. Mm-hmm. And he said that he used to be a barber up there and he used to cut hair. He said I got caught up on the taxes because he said I didn't know how to write it off or like do any of that. He said I didn't really think about it because once you're in a moment, you just don't think about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then he said I ended up owing like $15,000 and he said I had to stop like cutting because he said I couldn't. It's just like it's too much to deal with, too much to keep up with, and he said I didn't have like a good strategy to keep me from falling in debt. So he said I had to stop and just start. He worked at the Pentagon.
Okay.
Yeah, he ended up working at the Pentagon, and he had to pay that off for. I think he said it took him a couple of years to pay it off, but
yeah, that's a big chunk of money.
Yeah, but he said he don't. I mean, he liked cutting hair, but he said he didn't want to deal with having to do taxes and stuff like that. So, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that come from that and they're used to having taxes taken out of the checks like every week, so you don't have to worry about it. Which I was too. I'm used to that. I'm not, and plus I'm young too, so I've never done my taxes at all. This will be my first year doing my taxes because my dad always did it. My dad always did it for me.
Right.
And when I moved out, now I'm realizing that I'm a grown man now. I have to figure things out, which I mean, he never really gave me a chance to figure it out myself when I was living with him because he always wanted to help me, which is okay.
Yeah.
But but sometimes you have to be thrown out there, kind of let you decide what you need to do. And I mean, I don't regret him doing that, but I do at the same time because I'm struggling right now in life because I'm trying to figure out everything, which I mean, I figured out it's going to happen eventually anyways.
It's tough. I'm not a parent, so can't speak for parents, but it's like I can imagine as a parent, you're hoping that when you send your kid to school, they're learning a lot of these things. And that's where I think a lot of the problem is too.
The schools. Yeah. They don't, they definitely did not. Well, I took a what's the name of that class?
They usually have like business
and econ.
Yeah.
I took that in school, but I mean, it didn't really talk about. It
grazes over most.
Yeah. Cause I mean, there has a little chapter about trading and day trading and freaking stocks and stuff like that. It was like, we talked about it for like a day or two.
Yeah.
Which I think that's one topic you should really dive into as far as like that, and then doing like your taxes and how to save money. Like it's just. I mean,
you're also in a state too where, or in a a mindset when you're in high school and that age where
you don't really care.
Yeah, you don't care. You're not gonna absorb that information because it doesn't matter. Home. Yeah, mom and dad are doing your taxes. You don't need to worry about it. And a lot of kids don't work during that time either, or work full time.
My dad wouldn't let me work until after I graduated because I wanted the job all the way through high school, but he said he wanted me to focus on sports. Yeah. So I mean that's cool But I always wanted my own money, and I was like, Dad, I can't. I kind of want a job. And he was like, No, just wait until after school.
Right.
You might go to college, play football. You don't know. Which I planned. That was what my plan was to go to college, play football, and I mean, obviously, everybody's dream that plays football is go to NFL. But you gotta be realistic. And I ended up tearing my meniscus.
Ouch.
My senior year, and then after that, just the dream of football just went out the window for me. So I was just like, I'm just gonna go to community college. Went to community college to be a radiologist, and I had the best grades I ever had in school. My first two semesters of college had straight A's and B's, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't in my mind. I wasn't happy. I wasn't doing anything that I really wanted to do. I was just thinking about it for the money. Because during that time you're in college, usually you don't really know what you're doing. Your parents kind of, my dad used to always tell me, but yeah, you need to go be a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer. And I was like, yeah, I guess like they make good money, so I guess that's the way to go. And at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy, like if you don't know what you enjoy, I mean, I guess it's okay to, just try something. But if you got something that you enjoy that you're not doing, and you're just putting that to the side just because you think you're going to make good money and be happy with it, you're probably not going to be happy.
Right.
So, I mean, you might as well just go ahead and, I'm not saying to just everybody to drop out of college or whatever, but if you got something that you want to chase for and you got a dream that you like, that you want to chase or something that you like doing particularly, do that. Like you'll probably end up making way more money doing that than going and doing a job that you hate every day, waking up, and you're just like, man, I hate this job. I might make like $100,000 a year, but I really hate this job.
Right.
So what's the point? Like, I'd rather make 50, 60 a year doing something I love than making 200 or 300,000 a year.
And it makes tax season even more miserable when you don't like what you do because you're doing two things you don't like to do, which is taxes and your job, and then you just sit there and reflect on how much money you are not making at the job that you hate. And so
that's horrible.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a great mindset to have. Chase the things you want and go for it.
So was there anything was there something that you was doing before this, like that you thought you was going to like, but you end up liking this?
Yeah. So. It's kind of, I'll keep it brief, but so I went to school. My dad is a general contractor back in Utah. And so he built houses. And he has his own business. It's a small, but it was mostly just him. And then he would hire people every now and then to help him, which was oftentimes me and my brothers. But anyways, I went on a church mission when I was 19, came home when I was 21, and went to school with the idea of doing construction management to kind of get into the family biz, if you will. And then just realized I didn't want to do that. I do like the skills that I learned from construction. That's been very helpful in my life, but I didn't really want to do that as a career. I've always been into music and picking the banjo and things like that. So I found that's what led me here to ETSU, went to ETSU and did the bluegrass program. And I always wanted to do music production. I wanted to record music and artists and all that. And then somehow I got into podcasting. I started my own podcast about songwriting a few years ago. That's no longer active, but it's still out there. But that got me into podcasting. So I was doing a lot of production, and then kind of led me to what I'm doing now, which is producing podcasts for other people. So I'm kind of doing what I wanted to do. But chasing that is what led me to this spot. And I really enjoy this because I'm not really in the music scene. But I still enjoy it.
As I say, you probably still could. Like if you really wanted to, if you just want to change the direction of where you're going, you could still try to go towards the music if you really wanted to.
And once you dive into an industry, you might not know exactly what you want to do with it But once you dive into it, you'll find other options that you didn't know existed, which, again, that for me was producing podcasts versus producing music. And I can still produce music. I can have people come in here, and I got microphones, and I have recorded people over the last couple of years, just as a little, usually just friends. Yeah, that's what led me to this, and I enjoy it. And I would say it's more profitable, so you learn that kind of stuff too. And you learn.
So
Like,
you
the
think this is
market.
more profitable than the music producing?
Yeah, and there's a few reasons behind that. Musicians are generally poor, and I mean that in a very respectful way. Being a musician is a grind, and
Yeah,
it's
I'm sure
usually
it is.
yeah, it's usually a side hustle for most people. It's playing at bars and trying to get discovered, and they usually don't have the spare money, the spare cash to record a full album, and so it's a tough business, and there's people out there that do music production way better than I could ever do it. So it's very competitive in that way. And there's not a lot. There's a lot of money if you go to Nashville,
Like bigger cities and stuff.
the big music cities. You can find jobs at music, like record labels, and there's a lot of money in those. But you're talking about bigger named artists that have it made and are being played on the radio and that kind of stuff. So there's that, and then yeah, it's trying to think of other reasons, but yeah, it's just not as profitable. The other thing is podcasts are consumed by everybody. People love podcasts now because it's a great source of information. It's nice to listen to on the road when you're driving. You got a 30-minute drive to somewhere. Put on a podcast, learn something new. And music is still great too. Music is it. People listen to music all the time.
They should, because music gets old though.
Yes.
You want to listen to something different.
Yeah, and that's how I am when I'm in my consumer. As a consumer, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and every now and then I'll play some tunes, and then I usually go back to podcasts because there's constantly new content. You might have a favorite artist comes out with a new album. He won't come out, or she won't come out with a new album for 2 to 5 years, and but you have a favorite podcaster, they're putting a new episode out
Almost at least consistently every week.
every week. Yeah.
That makes sense. Like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I've never actually listened to his podcast, like his podcast. I've heard his podcast. It's like he has like the number one podcast in the world, right?
Yeah, he's the podcast king. I mean,
That's because he be talking about some crazy stuff on there.
Oh yeah, he gets so many personalities on that show that it's the variety is insane. And he doesn't, as to my it's my opinion and to my knowledge and understanding of his shows, he's not very biased. So it's a very
So he just really
he
gets
a general audience. Yeah. So
Okay.
he gets everyone from every side of every fence that exists and just talks to them. And he has very long form podcasts. I've only listened to a few of his full episodes. They're like usually 3 hours long.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. Jeez. That was really to be diving into some crazy stuff. Like,
Yeah.
in order for somebody, I mean, usually maybe he probably only has maybe like one or two people on there. Maybe. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, he'll occasionally have he does some with like he's a comedian, and so he's got a lot of comedian friends. So he'll have
Is he a comedian?
yeah.
Like, is that really, like, is that his actual?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I thought he was just like like the dude that fought, like he was a fighter.
I think he started out I think he's always been active in like MMA and that type of stuff.
Yeah, because I all see videos of him just fighting, and everybody's talking about how he got hands for real, and like he did MMA and
Right.
all types of crazy stuff.
He's kind of an interesting human when you look into him a little bit, but he started out as a comic, and I think he's from the Boston area, and got into stand-up comedy, and then I think he got a gig with Fear Factor, and then he's been on.
I remember him being on Fear Factor.
Yeah, he's been in a few movies, and had different things like that. He's been an announcer for UFC and the MMA stuff. But I think he's just, he's become an expert at a couple of different things. I think he's also an expert at conversing with people. When you watch his podcast, it's like this dude really knows how to
keep a conversation going.
Yeah, and get people to say everything. I mean, he's really good at just opening people up and making them feel comfortable, and so you can learn a lot from him with podcasting. So,
It's because I see. It's going in now. I think. Hold on. Okay, but I seen like on Instagram they'll have his podcast, and he'll be talking about like theories. A lot of obviously a lot of people love theories, like things that people like think about all the time.
Yeah.
And he gets a lot of those people on there to talk about aliens and all types of crazy
Is
stuff.
the moon landing real or fake?
Yeah, and I was like, bro, I bet his podcast is kind of cool, to listen to. But 3 hours long, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody can listen for 3 hours. Well, I could be wrong though, but
there's been a few that I've listened to that I got soaked in. I was in, and it was very, very interesting.
So do you take do you take like little things that they do and try to put it into yours? Or like what they do, like as far as like I don't know if it's like the way the cameras are set up or.
Yeah, So I have implemented as of recently a 2-camera system. Right now I only have 1 camera going.
Mm-hmm.
The camcorders I was using were kind of low quality. But yeah, he's got a guy, his name's Jamie. He's almost as famous as Joe Rogan. He'll be like, Jamie, pull this up on the screen. And so, there's some things I've learned from the production of his show for sure. And he was very heavy on YouTube, and then Spotify gave him a huge deal to go, like basically in-house with Spotify. Like he doesn't have his full episodes anywhere else, I don't think.
But just on Spotify. So they're paying him just to stay on Spotify.
It was like $150 million or something crazy like that.
God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
To go only with Spotify. But yeah, they're very big on video production, and so that's something that I've tried to steal a couple things from them for the production of all the shows that I produce too. So
I'm assuming as the podcast is going on, the more views and followers you get paid eventually.
Yeah. So YouTube has a really good. Well, it depends on who you ask whether it's good or bad, but I think it's a fairly decent monetization program.
Mm-hmm.
There's like criteria that you have to meet, and it's certain hours watched. So it's how much time people have consumed your content. And I can't remember the exact numbers. And then you have to have a certain amount of subscribers. You can't break any of YouTube's rules.
Like cussing and like certain cussing or something like that.
Yeah, and just, talking about certain topics that are in a certain way. They kind of have their own political stuff going on, but so YouTube's that way. Spotify doesn't have anything like that I know of. I know they do give royalties for musicians, so however many streams you get those big artists out there that are raking in like hundreds of millions of streams. They're making money off of those streams, but then you get the smaller artists that have like 10,000 or less. They're not making very much money. So, and the major source of revenue for podcasting is individual ads. So it's just building partnerships with brands, and you've probably heard on podcasts like use our link to get 15% off of this.
Yeah.
That's affiliate marketing. So the brand is using your podcast, and your audience is using your podcast as advertisement, and then hoping that, people, the listeners of that podcast will go in and use that code. And if they do, then the podcaster gets money for that. So you get a share of a commission, if you will.
It'd be a good way to kind of brand your own stuff, right? Too, at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have like clothing brand, or like, yeah, you can.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, and that's the nice thing with podcasting is you can do whatever you want. There's no Apple and Spotify. If you get into some weird dark topics, they can pull your podcast down. But other than that, like you can talk about whatever you want. You can express your opinions. You can get ads. You can advertise your own brands. You can you can go down the street here and go to Holy Taco and see if they want a spot in the podcast as well. So, and then you just negotiate pricing and stuff between the two of you. So, there's a lot to it, but yeah, it can get confusing and complicated very easily, just like everything.
Just because I've been thinking about I really want to start a YouTube, but I'm not going to sit here and try to make excuses. I've just been procrastinating. Like I said earlier, I'm just a really bad procrastinator sometimes. But also I feel like I need some better equipment because I can't. Do you think? I got the iPhone 14 Pro, but I don't think it's good enough. Like, I don't know if it could hold a bunch of hour videos because the storage is going to be taken up really fast.
How long of videos are you wanting to do?
I mean, it'd be just like little tutorials.
Okay.
Probably like, usually average tutorial, probably like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. You can do that on your phone easy. The only thing you would want to do is probably just upgrade your iCloud storage, and then you can store more videos.
I was thinking really just buying a whole camera. Just a Sony.
Camera's good too.
I seen this. I think it was like the Sony A7 III.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like I've heard it's like a very good. It's not. I mean, it's a little pricey. It's about $2,000.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, that's an business investment.
The camera that I have right there pointing at you, that's a Canon M50, and they run for about $500, $600.
You think it's pretty good?
It's really good for that kind of stuff.
For like filming videos and stuff like that?
Yep.
Okay.
And you can flip the screen so you can see it,
mm-hmm.
and then you can move it around however you need to. Really solid camera for content creation.
I might have to look at that one then. Yeah. So it's like the lens. Did you put a different lens on it, or is that just a stock lens?
I think it came with that lens, but you can remove the lenses and put different lenses on there.
Because I heard that the lenses is what really makes the video pop or whatever. Because the camera obviously matters too. But if you got like a decent camera with like a $4,000 lens, they said it make it look like crazy. It make it look crazy. But because I have a friend that's a photographer, and he actually makes content for me. Like, he'll come to the shop and take videos of me, mm-hmm. and make a video out of it, add music and all that stuff, and I'll pay him. Mm-hmm. But I think he said he does like photography and videography for like college football.
Okay.
Like App State. He's done App State. He's done Oak Hill. He's done like a whole bunch of like big name basketball, football, and I think he spent like $10,000 on his whole camera setup.
Yeah, and it can get pricey.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was like, dang. Yeah. He said the lens itself was like $6,000. Mm-hmm. I said, that's wild. That's wild as heck, bro.
The cameras my wife used for weddings and more video specific content. She like the one I have right now. This is great for just putting it in one place on a tripod and having it there. Gets really good high quality content. But the ones she has, they're like $1,800 cameras, and the lenses are like $800 on top of that. And so it's like I don't know the exact pricing, but it can add up very quickly.
Very expensive, because I really want to try to make a passive income doing something, because I mean I do a lot of content on Instagram.
Yeah.
But Instagram is weird, man. It's just that like you think you're in the algorithm. Because I for a while there I was getting at least 4 or 5 thousand views on my videos,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm back down to getting 800, and I
Yeah.
haven't had like. And they're quality videos. Like I always try to take pride in what I like. I'm a perfectionist. I always try to make sure I got good angles.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good haircut. I try to give a good like something a purpose of the video, not just like me showing off the haircut.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was just I don't know if it's just like it's it's hard. Like I don't understand like the what do I have to do to be consistent on the posting, like as far as like the views and stuff. And I can't. You can they had it to where you can buy boost your posts and stuff, but it won't let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just like I feel like I'm stuck as far as like the content creating goes, because I just feel like I'm being repetitive. Like we was talking about last week at Barber June. He
Mm-hmm.
was like, you got to switch up content. You got to figure out what your content wants to see, what your
Right.
people want to see, and
That's a full-time job in itself,
yeah,
right there.
it takes a lot of time. I mean, it don't take me that long to make a video. It takes me about like 10, 15 minutes. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Doing the research to figure out your audience, and a lot of social media is driven by trendy songs
yeah,
and effects and that kind of stuff. And that's the stuff that's time consuming. You have to do a lot of research in the back end to like know what's trending and what's not, and because that's, to my understanding, that's what really gives your content the kick to like get out there. Like, I don't know. I'm not very good with social media. That's one of those areas where I fail, but
it's hard to understand, man.
it is.
I
Yeah.
have I have made a tutorial video, like a good haircut tutorial video, and I didn't really even try on it, and I got 500 likes on it,
Hmm.
and it had 10.5k 10.5k views.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I never got that again. I was
Hmm.
like, I was like, okay, so this is what they want to see. So I was thinking maybe I need to make more tutorial videos, and here I am making more tutorial videos, and
And it's not
it's
getting the
not
same
getting anything.
results.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, I don't know what else to do. Like, it's just like, because I mean, I'll try to be different, but it's hard, especially in the barber industry, because everybody's doing the same thing.
Hmm.
Everybody's showing off their haircuts. Everybody's doing tutorials, or they're doing videos of them coming into the shop and setting up and all sort of stuff. And it's just hard to set yourself apart from millions and millions of people that are doing the same thing. And it's like, how am I supposed to, like, what do I got to do to make myself different?
Right.
And that's the hard part, is being different.
Hmm.
Because I'm sure I'm different in some way, but I just don't know what it is that I'm different from everybody else in the industry.
Hmm.
But hopefully one day I'll figure it out. I'm not gonna stop trying, but after a while I was just like, dang man, what's the point even
Right.
posting stuff?
Well, I mean, that kind of circles back to a lot of what we talked about today. Is in Nike said it best: just do it.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it, you'll never know how you can improve. You'll never know. Like they talk about how failure is one of the greatest lessons of living, and it is, because you don't know how to improve and become better unless
You fail.
fail. Yeah, and so get a YouTube channel started. Hire a CPA. Follow your dreams, because you don't know. Maybe the things you're pursuing aren't exactly your destiny, but they'll lead you to that. You don't like something, try something new, and just do it. Get it going so that you can learn from it. The faster you start, the faster you get where you want to go.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
I'm at the. I mean, I always tell myself that all the time. I should know this, but sometimes you still have that.
Yeah, we hear it all the time.
Yeah,
I'm repeating thousands.
all the time.
Yeah.
Literally all the time. I say this every day, like every Monday, like live life, try new things, but
Mhm.
it's hard. Sometimes you just don't want to. You don't want to feel that failure, because that's something that nobody enjoys doing, is failing. Which you never really fail. You always learn. The only time you fail is when you stop trying.
Yep.
But I think that's it for today, man. I'm timed out. I'm clocked out on the topics.
Get the music rolling.
Today was a good day. Good day without Craig and Emma. Um, I'm sure they'll be on here next Monday. So I'll see y'all then. I hope y'all have a good day. Like I said, live life, have fun, go out there and be great. Peace.